Okay, this is a review for that joke of a fucking season finale of Game of Thrones. Not even season finale, like
That's the end of it.
end.
The end of it.
This is a fucking joke.
How do you feel about spending all that time for this to be your wrap up?
Well, clearly, I'm using Elmo.
Is that your coping
I'm
mechanism?
I I have more than one coping mechanism. Elmo, alcohol, just I don't even know what to do with myself right now. I'm so upset.
I just want to say that the first 10 minutes was terrible. They just
The
it was
whole
like a it was a
oh
no, but that was like the worst because I feel like I know I was watching it, but I was like, why are they recapping this? It has no emotional substance to me. Like finding their bodies, them walking around, like it had no emotional substance. But at this point in the last episode, I want things to kind of go. And I called it. I told you he was gonna stab her. I said it.
well, a lot of people said that.
Did they?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, all right. Let's
At
just
one point before, I thought it was gonna be.
spoilers.
Uh, By this point, like, it doesn't even matter. Spoilers.
I
It's the
know
end.
it really doesn't.
Um.
It let's just go in chronological order. Like you
Alright.
said, the beginning of the episode is just them encountering all of the dead bodies, and they're just like,
Essentially, it's a recap of, in case you didn't see the last episode for some strange reason.
yeah.
Let me just waste time so I can make the episode seem like it's longer.
So, uh, it's Jon Snow and Tyrion, and at one point Tyrion just says, "I'm gonna go alone at this, like going forward," and then
He offers some men, but he's like, no.
yeah, he's like
Because he
"Nah."
knows what he's gonna go do. He's gonna
Yeah.
go see
He
the
goes down.
shitstorm that he made.
Yeah, he goes down. He goes inside the castle. He goes down, I guess, to like where all of like the dragon skulls are, and that's where he told.
Essentially, the catacombs where you can the escape route that he had devised.
Yeah, for
his
Jaime and
brother
Cersei.
and sister, right?
Yeah, Jaime and Cersei. So he told Jaime, take Cersei down there, exit out of like the last fucking thing or whatever. There's gonna be a boat out there for you. Well, in the last episode, you see that they both died, like holding each other. Rubble falls down them, and so Tyrion goes down there. He crawls through the rubble, into the chamber, and then he goes towards that one entrance or exit that they were supposed to go at, and he sees that it's covered in rubble, and then he sees Jamie's gold hand sticking out, and so he's of course sad and like crying, and slowly uncovers them and sees that they died embracing each other, and they looked great for being crushed to death.
I don't understand why it would have been so easy to uncover them.
That yeah, like
Because
just a bunch of little bricks.
yeah, I mean, sure they could have died from tiny bricks because they're super heavy,
Or
but
suffocation, but
either which way, I'm just like they shouldn't have done that. I can understand him going to the wall and seeing it's closed off and going like, oh, they didn't make it. I don't know if it was for the fans that just to put the rest
that they're not coming
that they're
back.
not coming back,
Yeah.
but I felt like they wasted my not so precious time doing all that.
Clearly. And so then we go back to Jon Snow, who is going through the streets, and he comes across Grey Worm, who's about to execute a bunch of Cersei's men, and he stops them. The Unsullied are like bust out with their little spears, and they're like about to fuck shit up, and so John decides like to go talk it over with Daenerys, and then as he's walking away, Grey Worm starts slitting their throats, and it's just like fuck, you know. And so the next scene is that when he like arrives at the castle.
What do you mean? The scene following that?
Yeah.
The scene following that is probably the most climactic part of the episode, and that's pretty much the Drakarian army that I thought was cut down to
Dothraki.
the Dothraki army that was, I thought, cut down to like a few numbers. Actually, it looks like it's a lot bigger, and the Unsullied have lined up for the queen, and they're basically, honoring her there.
Mm-hmm.
He's going over there to try to, talk stuff over with her.
Mm-hmm.
Arya, sees this, is kind of freaking out about it. Follows Jon, and they have a very cinematic kind of entrance for her. The dragon spreads its wings. It looks like she has wings. She starts speaking all this very crazy rhetoric about, basically
breaking the wheel,
getting everybody on board.
Yeah, like the
saving
entire
everybody.
World.
Especially like how she just saved and liberated the people from King's Landing, which technically they're all dead, but that kind of rhetoric, everybody's behind it. Jon Snow's having these doubts. Arya's kind of like, what the hell? And then I forget his name.
Tyrion.
Yeah, he's for sure just like, what did I do?
Mm-hmm.
It is at this point that in my brain I'm like, he's gonna do it. He's gonna stab her.
I thought he was gonna stab her like in front of the
me
entire army.
Me too. That's literally what I thought.
Yeah,
and,
I was like, get it, Tyrion, just fucking do it at this point.
And you know what? Which again, I didn't really see that big of a deal about her going off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, yeah, he doesn't do it. She turns around. She's like,
fucking betrayed.
Yeah,
me,
she's
bitch.
like, I know you a snitch.
Yeah, like, I know that you let your brother, like, go free, and then basically he's just, like, owning up to it, and he's like, what are you gonna do about it, bitch? And she fucking gets him and puts him...
He throws a little fit and throws his hand medal, which I don't understand how much of a...
The hand, that...
Yeah, the medal. He throws his little hand, whatever, pin. Yeah. His little fiesta medal. And he's like, I'm not having this. Which I was like, clearly, whether you threw it down or said some kind of moral thing, you were pretty much done
You're gonna die, yeah. And then we cut to Daenerys seeing Jon finally while she's walking away, and instead of like stopping, she just continues walking with her Unsullied, and then like out of nowhere Arya pops up. Like, she goes from being on the sidelines of the Unsullied, and somehow she's up there with Jon.
She's very, very sneaky. That's why.
Sneaky little lady. I still love Arya. I don't hate her.
I mean, like I said, I don't, but I feel like, I don't know, let's just keep going with this.
Okay, so any Hoosers.
She basically gives them like a little, ooh, like, watch out, she's gonna get you.
Yeah. So the next scene, is that when
well, we skipped a little bit. At that point that all this is happening at the same time, she basically is like, lock him up, take him away.
Mm-hmm.
And she takes him away, and then we cut to the scene where it's pretty it's a good drink, guys. Very, very good.
It's very full of sugar. This late at night.
It's like a raspa. Alcoholic raspa.
Not enough alcohol.
They go back. He's locked up. Jon Snow has this little fit where he gives up his weapons and goes and talks to Tyrion. Tyrion does this whole spiel on how he feels bad. It's just it was like just a lot of regurgitation, a lot of very unheartfelt guilt.
Well, it was supposed to be heartfelt. Like, Tyrion's basically talking to Jon about, would you have done it? Would you have killed all of those people after you heard the bells that meant that they were surrendering? And Jon basically says it doesn't matter because she's our queen, and he says...
Well, no, I like how he leads off, which is a very important point that I think is very redeeming in Jon Snow's outlook. He says he just saw what's-her-face beheaded, just lost a dragon, which a lot of people would... Like, he dismisses it, but it's essentially a child to her, So...
Well, yeah.
it's technically her baby. So
Yeah.
anybody that would lose their baby would pretty much lose their mind for a little bit.
Well, they really did a good job at making her seem like she was kind of fucking going nuts.
Well, again, when he drives the point, like, yeah, it's her being told that she's doing the right thing, so she's gonna stop anybody who's getting in the way of it.
Yeah. And then so he ends up so John's like departure from Tyrion, that scene was him saying what's gonna happen to your sisters. Like he knows that like the fate of his sisters is gonna be more important than the fate of himself.
He's essentially kind of rallying them up to do what he's gonna do.
Yeah. And so the next scene we see Dany actually going to the Iron Throne. She's by herself for some fucking reason.
Well, because I'm pretty sure you had to go through all these checkpoints to get up there.
Oh yeah, Drogon was outside.
Yeah,
But
so
bitch was asleep.
again, I like when she sees him. She immediately drops the Queen Act because they're both together, and she just is so glad to see him, and she's just like, yeah. So
She's basically telling him like, let's do this together. We can break the will together. Let me be your queen. Blah blah blah. And so he's telling her, "You'll always be my queen." They're embracing, and then he stabs her. But it
which I called
seems
her.
like the most anticlimactic stab. Like I was just like, okay.
And at which point, I don't know why, but I assumed that she was telepathically linked to the dragon. I assumed the dragon was gonna immediately attack. But then
Well,
nothing happened.
But he did like.
But then
feel-
he came in, and I was like, oh my god, I was right. They're telepathically linked. I was like, jeez. I was like, but
And
no.
he thought he was gonna fuck shit up, right? And then instead, he's like a sad pup, and I'm like, you know what?
That was like,
Drogon was like the most expressive.
yeah. I was like, I was like, all that Tyrion and all the crying everybody did throughout this whole episode did not
Do as good
show
as
as
like
most as an emotional range
as the
as
CGI dragon.
CGI dragon. He's just like, what?
Yeah, like I was.
Mom?
Yeah, exactly.
Get up.
I was
No?
just like, oh my heart, like I have feelings like about the dragon being sad, and that was it.
Which I mean, I want to really kind of point out that I feel that at this point, everything that was going on, I feel like all the actors just didn't care. That's exactly how it felt. Like I felt like they didn't really care
Yeah, because
about
I felt
anything.
like I felt like they were like, this is a shit ending, and they were right.
I mean, I just really didn't feel it.
So after that, we see Dany's dead body being carried off by Drogon into the fucking horizon, and then we cut to Tyrion, and it seems at this point that some time has passed, and he is being led to the council, which is like, I guess, like the remaining people, like of the head of houses and
That is true.
points, whatever, in the kingdom.
He's a prisoner. They start discussing, basically the Unsullied want, some kind of action taken
They want
against Jon
dead.
Snow and
Oh, maybe.
Tiny Hand guy. So
Tyrion. Well,
They-
hi Poe.
and they essentially don't get it, which I mean I have no problem with that. I didn't feel like they should have gotten any kind of closure for it.
Well, I think you're going too far ahead first.
Well, I mean,
So-
because that's what he's asking for. I'm not saying that what he gets out of it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that's
so-
what they're demanding.
They are demanding justice.
Yes.
And so they want justice for what Jon did to Daenerys, and they are saying Tyrion is still their prisoner. And so they're saying like, well, we need to, or basically that a king or queen needs to be nominated. Fucking Poe went into the room. So basically a king or queen needs to be nominated right now. And so the first person to stand up is like, I don't even remember this bitch's name from the start. Then he's like about to start going into why like he thinks he's qualified, and fucking Sansa just
I like how they're like, no, sit down.
yeah, like just sit down,
No.
boy. Like nah, like you're part of the reason the red wedding happened, but I think
I
'cause he
don't
didn't-
know. Yeah, I don't know this character. Again,
I
I
just
felt like when they had that council, it should have been a little bit more familiar with what was going on at the end. I felt like these characters kind of just were whipped up to make it look fuller.
well, if you watched everything from the beginning, you'd recognize them, but
I'm pretty sure you would, but like, I don't know. Anyways,
yeah. Anyways, so we're going back to. They tell Sansa base. Is he awake?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's just pause this. Baby break. Okay, back from the baby break. So we were talking about
the very anticlimactic and star-studded circle.
yeah.
So we're talking about the characters among them, kind of weird, but whatever.
Yeah. So Samuel Tarly suggests, why don't the people like basically vote who they want?
Democratic kind of.
Yeah, and
thing.
they basically
Scoff
laughed at him. Yeah.
Which by all essence, I literally was like, sit your ass down, boy. Ain't nobody talking to you. I mean, I'm thinking it as like a sense if I was like a noble guy there or whatever you want to call him, I'd be like, boy.
Yeah, and so they end up asking Tyrion, like, well then, who would you choose? And he's like, oh, I've had a long time to think about this, like since he's been locked up and whatnot.
He made it seem like he was in there for years.
Well, he ends up saying Bran, and so because of all this bullshit, and so he nominates Bran, and then everybody starts saying I, and then Sansa is the only one that says the North will become its own kingdom, and like he agrees to it, so they fucking call him Bran the Broken.
Yeah.
Like, I would be pissed. I'd be like, Bran the Broken? Like, ho, better find a better name for me. Like,
She just called me like, it's like if they called him like Brando Wheelie.
yeah, exactly.
Or
Anyways, so I was,
terrible.
yeah, I was just like, Bran the
Jesse the
Broken.
Mexican. Like that's, I'm like, okay.
Well, any Hoosers, so then they decide, so what they end up deciding for the fate of Jon Snow.
Well, no, because I feel like they could have been a better offer, but I feel like Jon Snow got shafted because of this. Bran immediately is like, well, you're my hand now.
Oh, yeah, to
And,
Tyrion.
yeah, and the son's like, the hell, guy?
Yeah, he's
So-
still like, he's still my prisoner.
Yeah, and he's like, really? This is how we're gonna start? So, I mean, pretty much starting on that off as like, he's my hand, so yeah. And he's like, well, he's gonna repay by working for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm pretty sure he's like, yeah, but Jon Snow's not gonna get it that easy.
Mm-hmm.
So
They decide.
essentially he starts back at square one.
Yeah, they decide that he is going to become a member of the Night's Watch again. And so they show John being released. He's being flanked by the two Night's Watch people, leading him to his horse, whatever. And they're leaving King's Landing.
I
and,
literally would have walked out like,
yeah, so
literally just pissed off.
it was disappointing. I was just like, God, like I wanted more people to die, not just Daenerys. Like, I needed more main people to die, and I just didn't get that. I think that's what's so disappointing is because Game of Thrones has become known as like this cutthroat fucking show where like main characters
I just
die.
feel like they gave it to like the Stark family basically.
I just feel like they tried to do like a really quick ending without like wrapping up other things that were going on in the show.
I feel like they left it too open to like spin-offs. And,
Well, I think that was on purpose.
well, I mean, I know it was on purpose, but you could have done it a little bit better. I mean, what do I know, right?
Yeah. So the ending is showing what happens to the Stark children, basically.
Can we go off on how I mean, I know it was obvious that she was gonna get her own spin-off, but all of a sudden, fucking, she just becomes, America Vespucci over here. She's going off and
Arya,
yeah,
she's become an explorer.
an explorer. I was
And
like,
I was just like, fuck it, girl, do it. Like, because Arya can do no wrong in my
but
eyes.
I don't. Okay, it's not in her character at all. And never at one point throughout the whole series do you think that she has some kind of explorer vibe inside of her.
You haven't even watched the whole series.
She becomes an assassin. Her whole thing is to kill the lady. I mean, I think I don't know. I never got the I'm gonna discover new lands over here.
I don't think
But
it
whatever.
matters. Yeah. So they show Arya becoming her own little like explorer thing. She has a boat. It has House Stark banners on it. Whatever. She gets her happy ending. They show Bran like he's being like pushed around in a wheelchair, I think. And Sansa and Arya are there. I think that's when they're saying goodbye to
Yeah, they're
Jon
they're
Snow.
basically hurrahing him away,
I
and they're
think.
like trying to explain to him like, yeah, we did everything we could.
Yeah, and then Sansa, her ending, she becomes Queen of the North. They show her like getting dressed in her like fancy, pretty robes, and then like she's being crowned.
Guilty pleasure. I wanted her to die.
Boy, but
What?
anywho,
I really did. I wanted her to die.
let me talk about her crown. It was ugly.
Um,
It was really ugly. Like
that whole scene was just fucking terrible.
I feel like the people of the North are really just happy to chant King or Queen of the North.
I don't know. It just, like I said, it was just a terrible scene. There was nothing about it that seemed like
Exciting.
a coronation.
Or I don't know. And then let's get back to Bran. And he
I'll
is
say it right now. Best scene, dragon, good emotional range, melting that throne. The best scene out of the whole thing.
Oh yeah, he melted the throne. But you know what? I was just like, this boy don't know what the throne means. Like,
I didn't think that he knew what it meant either. I just thought that he was pissed, and he's like, I can't melt you. I literally saw you guys do it. I'm gonna melt this.
mhm.
So
I felt like it was like him saying like,
I'm gonna
this
finish.
is why like she's dead.
Yeah, I
Rah.
felt like that, and he was like, I'm gonna do what my mom wanted to do the whole time and break the wheel by destroying the throne.
Mhm.
So, but anyways, back to the
Back
thing.
to Bran.
Yeah.
We go back to a scene where Tyrion is waiting for like I guess
He's doing the hand stuff. He's
Yeah,
doing
he's
his
waiting
job.
for the council
He's
to
just
come in.
doing stuff.
and so we see
And lo and behold, who's in his council? The dude that tried to kill him, and he gave all
Bronn.
that stuff. Yeah.
Bronn.
Talk about nepotism.
Shut up. So Bronn is there. Samuel Tarly is there.
Does
Sir
Brand the
Da-
Broken know about this deal that they made? I think not.
Sir Davos is there.
We kind of skipped over one part though,
What part?
where
Oh,
Big
Brienne.
Sexy's writing in the book.
Yeah, Brienne.
Pull out game week.
Brienne is basically writing the ending for Jaime. He is not going to be forever known as the Kingslayer. He's going to be known like for fighting in the battle against the dead, and then he died protecting his queen. And it made it seem like it was hard for her to write that down, that his queen was his sister, you know. But whatever. But let's go back to the more important scene of the council. And so basically, it was funny. So so Bran shows up, whatever, and they're
It's a
all,
very that little scene was a very like I felt like Game of Thrones did like a fucking Seinfeld episode.
it felt
'cause-
like a very scrappy team.
Because he's all like, I'm gonna fix the chairs like this because this is the way I like it, and then they come in and they move the chairs, and he's like, what are you doing? I like those chairs.
God.
And then they start arguing about brothels and money and coinage and just back and forth banter. Like,
Yeah, but the thing
Felt
that
very forced.
the thing that made me laugh was, so they're all like, oh, where the last like time they saw Drogon, he was flying east, and then basically Braun is just like, and that's okay or whatever, basically just trying to cut it off. And well, Bran's all like, I'll find out where he's going, and he's like like, peace out, bitches.
He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go bring him back with my mind powers.
Yeah, so I'm gonna warg into that bitch. But so, oh my gosh, what was it? Long may he reign is what they're all supposed to say, like, I guess at once, but they all say it like one at a time because they're scrappy and don't know how to act royal. And so the ending scene is showing Jon Snow back at the Night's Watch, and he is going through the gate, which is useless now because I thought the gate was to keep the wildlings out, but he's going out with them, and
It makes no goddamn
it
sense.
really doesn't. So he's
It really
going
doesn't.
out and with the wildlings, and like, I guess like the last scene is like them going into the forest. Tormund's back. Just real quick about that, like no big scene about that, but so they're going into
No
the
big scene.
woods, and like he just, does he look back?
He looks back. Jon Snow looks back at the gate like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss regular women. Guess these wildlings are gonna have to do. I mean, I don't know.
But
it
that's how it ended.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, no,
It
well, not
was-
really. The reality how it ends is, she's in a ship sailing off. She's getting quarantined. It's all at the same time.
Mhm.
I don't know. Like
It
I
was
said,
a disappointing ending. I was expecting more death. I was expecting more emotional range. I was expecting like for more of the stories, like loose ends to be tied up, and it was just none of that. Like this whole last season, like I think the best episode was the second episode. I'm sorry, is that a spider over there?
yeah.
It's a big ass spider.
Uh-huh.
Okay, anywho, sorry.
Yeah, spiders.
But yeah, this whole last episode was trash. Just trash. Throw it in the trash, crumple it up, fucking rewrite it, do better. Like, I just
There's no way to rewrite it. You'd have to get rid of the whole season.
don't worry. If y'all didn't know, my dog is actually like this really great director. Poe. She's also gonna be every single character. And she's gonna do better.
Emotional range up the wazoo.
Where are you, Poe?
She wants nothing to do with this project.
Come here, Poe.
But yeah, I guess that's it, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh.